All right, you got to be careful of faulty investment returns. All right, we got some stuff here on the whiteboard. I guess on this side, there we go. We're gonna go into because a lot of people make this mistake, and even I do sometimes. It's one of those things you just got to be careful. You got to be cognizant. You got to be looking around like an owl, looking like this, like an owl. All right. So anyway, so I'm reading. It's just such a good book. There's a lot going on here. It's more for coders, and I'm not a coder because I'm not. Because I like the ladies, you know what I'm saying? If you're a coder, you don't like the ladies. That's a joke. Laugh. Get the stick out of your butt. It's okay. It's funny to laugh. Anyway, so this is William Sharp. That's the Sharp ratio and whatnot, and just tons of just a good refresh, to be honest with you. And we're on page 178 right now, which I want to share with you here. And let's go down here. It's free. You can get this. Look up William Sharp's Retirement Income Analysis. It says textbook that you can just download. It's fantastic. Again, a lot of coding stuff, and again, that's not what I'm trying to do, but it has been a very good refresher, actually. I very much enjoy looking at this. So we're going to look at the difference between geometric and arithmetic returns. Geographic, oh my goodness, Josh, you are so dumb. Yes, sir, I am. Yes, sir, I am. All right, so what we got here is we have a 2-year scenario, a 10% rate of return. All right, it's like flipping a coin. 50% of the time, you're going to get positive 10% rate. 50% of the time, you're going to get a negative 10% rate. All right, makes sense? So you're flipping a coin. You get heads, you get a positive 10%. You get tails, you get a negative 10%. And that's it. So we know there's only 4 scenarios in this case because we're just doing it for 2 years. In scenario 1, you could get 10% positive rates of return twice, which means you get a 1.21% rate of return on your money. Scenario 2 is you get a positive 10% rate of return in year 1. You get a negative 10% return in year 2, and so you end 0.99. Scenario 3, negative year 1, positive year 2, you also end 0.99. Scenario 4, negative on both years, you end 0.81. All right, so for simplicity, $1,000 invested would be $990 here, $990 there, $1,210 there, and $810. All right, so $1,000 invested in all these things would give you, what's that, 4,000 bucks. All right, in fact, very simple. You add up all these and divide by 4, and you get a what? A 0% rate of return. You invested $4,000, you ended up with $4,000. You ended up with 0% rate of return. Your average rate of return is 0. However, if we have 4 different investors, 3 of them lost money. 3 lost money. You see that? Only 1 made money. So if you had 4 investors in this portfolio, which had a positive or minus 10%, only 1 would make money, which the median rate of return here is less than 0 because the median is $990. So this is the average, but the median is $990. Median means half the people have more, half the people have less. And the median rate of return is negative 0.5%. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So you look at, and this is the whole kind of thing with sequence of return risk, by the way. The same scenario applies because you're like, oh, my average rate of return on this portfolio is 10%. Was it 10% towards the end or 10% at the beginning? Because it was 10% towards the end where you got killed in the beginning. You didn't have enough, you didn't survive to get the average rate of return. So anyway, the median versus the average, and we called, so we're going to, hold on, so let me erase this, hang tight. So why is that important? Because actually Bill, as he talks about it, I call him Bill because we're old buddies right here. He has this scenario which is pretty interesting. All right, he says, we can summarize a long-term history by computing the constant return each year that would produce the same ending value of dollar invested. Each of our assimilated histories lasts 87 years, all right? So if we invest $1 and our average rate of return is 4.25, all right? So we got $1 and we're going to invest it. And I'm going to take my trusty calculator. $1, let me just pause real quick. So $1 invested with a 4.25% average rates of return gives us $37 at the end of 87 years. All right, so we take $1, all right, $1, average 4.25, 87 years equals 37 bucks. All right. However, that 4.25 isn't every single year. That 4.25 is it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. So when we actually look at the median rate of return, that $1 grew, I think he said to, 19 bucks, I think is what it was. Hold on a second. The median rate of return grew to $19.78. 1978. Oops, just dropped all my stuff. 19.78. Why is that important? Because you're not getting a straight 4.25% a year. This is not a linear. It doesn't just go like that. You see what I'm saying? So 50% of the people were down here and 50% of the people were above that. Yet the average return was $37, but the median return on everything's the same. 50% of the people had less than 19,000, or 19 bucks, I should say, or basically 20 bucks. We can round up. Does that make sense? Because what matters isn't the average, it's the median. How many people did this versus how many people got that? In this case, the average, again, and this is what I talk about all the time. Averages skew towards the outliers. I'm telling you, you just think about it with me and my buddy Jeff Bezos, because we like to hang out. Me and my buddy Jeff Bezos, I can't stress this enough. The averages are, and this is where my man, the guy who did the video on, oh man, hold on a second, dropping everything. The guy who did the video on, hold on a second. Well, that was weird. Just saw someone through my back door there. I was like, what the hell? So I went out to confront him. Got my Glocks, got my ARs and all that. No, there's a load management guy. And the load management, when we sign on for electricity, you do a thing where you can turn off the air condition or turn it down once a peak, a certain kilowatt. What happens is you're just basically saying, I give a rebate of 15 to 10 bucks a month or something like that if I have load management, i.e. when it gets peak air condition time, they can turn it down, or in this case, they can turn it up, so you're not putting your air conditioning down to 66. And that's fine. I don't. It doesn't bother me too much. In hindsight, I kind of wish I didn't do it, but I tell you, man, with the cost of electricity anymore, my kilowatt hours still pretty cheap. But man, when there's a peak demand, you know what I'm saying, here in the deep south, woo, Nelly, that's the grid gets. It gets tough to comply with the grid limitations. But we'll put everything on solar, Josh. And then we just got a guy, neighborhood across the street, just broke, one of these people went on vacay, and they just got their house broken. So I saw this guy out the back of my window. I said, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But this is the nice thing about working from home. Not likely to get broken in when I got two loud dogs. And I'm loud, believe it or not. All right, so let's go back here. Oh, what was I just talking about? Yeah, that's what it was. The average. So the Medicare school guy, Marv something, and that video was pretty good. I mean, that guy seems like he's all right. I don't know. I haven't watched any of his videos other than the one I talked about, but a couple of you guys gave him thumbs up, so kudos to him. He made a mistake not ascertaining the difference between the median and average, and that drives me crazy. The median is all we really care about, by and large. I mean, sometimes you can average, but generally speaking, the average is irrelevant. Because the averages, that's what I was going to say, the averages skew towards the outliers. So you got Josh, I got $1 net worth. You got Bezos, all right? He's got $1 billion net worth. Our average, and then we just say, I don't know, you, the average viewer. So average viewer, or we shouldn't say average, just say regular viewer. You got a net worth of $500,000. Reg viewer, all right? 500,000 smackaroonies. So our average is, well, I can't figure that out, but it's that's 500 million basically. The average is 500 million net worth. 500 million net worth, but the median is 500,000. See how the averages skew everything towards the outlier? And that's where you just got to be careful of. And how do you do this in the real world? A lot of people, it's one of those things that's very interesting. How do you ascertain, is it the average? You just got to say at the end of the day, how has your portfolio performed? That's it, man. You know what I'm saying? How has your specific portfolio performed? Because that's what matters. And so a lot of people get caught in this, if I average 4.25, yeah, but it depends on how the average is. When you're accumulating money, it doesn't. It's when you're decumulating money, taking money out. It really depends on what you're, You cannot look at everything as a straight line linear approach. This is, I guess, ultimately what I'm trying to say here. You don't get 5% each and every year. That's why it's so important to run Monte Carlos. And for all the deficiencies of Monte Carlos, they still have a value because they don't just say, we're going to get 5% a year each and every year. That's not how your portfolio works, man. And this is where this Dave Ramsey just makes this huge mistakes. He goes, oh, you're going to get an average of 10% a year. We can take 8% a year off and we'll still add to our capital base. That's not how it works. Your portfolio goes like this. And the averages, what matters is not the averages, it's the probability of success is what we're shooting for. And medians are important. Again, I just showed you the difference between the median of a 4.25% average rate of return. It was $37. Your average rate of return at 4.25 gave you $37 with every dollar invested over the course of 87 years. But your average didn't give you $37. Your median only gave you 19. 50% of the people had more, 50% of the people had less than 19. That's a big difference. And if you're using these averages, you can make a pretty drastic mistake. All right. Love your thoughts. God bless. And again, just look up William Sharp's, whatever the hell the paper is called, Retirement Income Analysis, I think is what this is called. And it's it's not a paper, it's a book. It's literally a textbook. It's got 700 and something pages in here. Constant spending, Social Security, income and fees, fixed annuities. Yeah, so lots of good stuff in here, man. All right, God bless. We'll see you.